Italy has rolled out the red carpet for King Charles and Queen Camilla as they arrive for a significant state visit.
Queen Camilla has spoken publicly for the first time about...
I remember anger, and I was so furious about it, and it sort of lurked for many years.
You know, going back to Extinction Rebellion and Animal Rebellion and Republic and whatever it is, everyone has a right to say, we live in thankfully a free country.
19 March 2026, 9 o'clock. Buckingham Palace releases Court Circular Bulletin 64/26 without warning. 2 names suddenly disappear from the official trustees list. Laura Lopes and Tom Parker Bowles. The royal bloodline has quietly closed the door. Just 4 days earlier, 14th March at 7:58, an internal alert triggered inside the Duchy of Cornwall financial system.
I heard from people who were very, very much involved 20-odd years ago, more than 20 years ago, in resurrecting Camilla. Their job was to take her from the mistress in 1996 and get her to be queen.
Ledger entry TR 884 recorded a consultant payment of £42,750 to Ms. Lopes. According to confidential audit notes, that amount exceeded the permitted limit for non-heir payments by £250, a threshold hard-coded into the Treasury monitoring software after the 2019 York settlement reforms. That tiny overage triggered an automatic escalation. Welcome to Crown Ara, where royal drama gets broken down piece by piece, and trust me, you do not want to miss what unfolds next. Subscribe now and stay with the channel for the latest twists, major claims, and non-stop royal updates.
Yes, I think there is that historical perspective. And it's important now, I think, because so much of what we see in here is very much in the now. And maybe fashions, they have their place, but long-term commitment has a lot going for it.
You don't sound...
Within 3 seconds, the system flagged the payment. Priority red, forcing a full forensic audit. One internal auditor later confirmed the significance. That £250 difference wasn't a mistake. It was the tripwire. Once triggered, no one could bury the file. The next day, March 15th, Princess Anne reportedly summoned Prince William to the King George VI Library at Sandringham. Witnesses say she placed a red folder on the table marked TR 884 pack. William's reported response was brief. Then we move.
There's more time on your hands, and it's quite a different discipline for some people.
By 6:12 on March 16th, the story had already begun leaking. March 16th, 1940, Clarence House. Queen Camilla calls an emergency meeting in Cabinet Room 3. Internal minutes show the session lasted 48 minutes. At one point, she reportedly says, "This is a witch hunt against my family." The palace communications plan drafted overnight is scrapped immediately.
We've been very lucky. My mother was the Queen for a very long time. And although you kind of know that this might happen, you don't really think about it very much. Not least of all because the monarchy is about continuity. But I think for my brother, this is something he's been waiting for.
The next day, March 17th, in the white drawing room at Buckingham Palace, Camilla hands King Charles a handwritten note. "Shield my children, or history will brand us ruthless." Witnesses say the king pauses, then schedules a Privy Council review for 8 o'clock the next morning. By 10:02 on March 18th, the Lord Chamberlain's office issues ultimatum LC/ALT19.
The more they can talk about it, the more you can try and get rid of these terrible demons.
Laura Lopes and Tom Parker Bowles are given 48 hours to provide signed royal authorization documents, or lose all palace access. News spreads fast. The Times runs the headline, "Bloodline versus In-Laws, Royal Trust Rupture." Global markets dip slightly before Asian trading opens, proof the story has moved beyond royal gossip. Then today, 9 o'clock, Court Circular Bulletin 64 confirms it. Both names are removed. 5 minutes later, Royal Protection Command cancels Security Pass 317. Cameras capture Tom Parker. Bowles stopped at the palace gate, phone pressed to his ear. Inside palace circles, one aide calls it a hard reset. Repayment demand RH45905 is now active. £45,905 due within 30 days.
And he's probably spent more time thinking about it. For the rest of us, it's more a question of, okay, we have to shift the way we support. And that's what we need to do.
or legal recovery begins, and the digital systems are already watching. What happens next? Before we continue, hit the like button if this investigation surprised you, subscribe for every sealed file update, and drop a comment. Should non-blood relatives ever hold power inside the monarchy? Inside the Royal Household Finance Board office on Cleveland Row, senior accountant Graham Wick refreshes the repayment portal. Invoice RH-45905 still shows one word, pending. Treasury policy normally allows a 3-day grace buffer.
Did have a bit of a scare. There was a bit of whether this tour would happen, but I'm told by the palace it was never in doubt. He was pretty.
But documents in our archive reveal that any file marked priority red can bypass that buffer with authorization from the Prince of Wales. Prince William reportedly approves the change. A short command from his private office triggers expedited mode, cutting the repayment window from 30 days to just 10. Palace systems instantly update. New deadline, March 29th, 23:59. Meanwhile, at the High Court in London, clerk Annette Doyle logs case hold A261. A pre-registration for potential recovery proceedings. Legal analysts notice a key phrase in the filing, contingent foreclosure. In simple terms, if repayment fails, the Crown could freeze certain UK assets tied to Tom Parker Bowles or Laura Lopes without another hearing. A rarely used legal measure. Markets react quickly. A Sky News business ticker warns, royal debt threat. Shares linked to Parker Bowles' cookbook licensing partner drop 5.3% within minutes. By mid-afternoon, attention shifts to Ray Mill House in Wiltshire. A courier delivers a legal letter proposing a settlement. £46,000 wired immediately, plus $10,450 donated to the Sandringham Conservation Trust, in exchange for a formal palace statement closing the case. The clock is still ticking. 16:48. St. James's Palace. Princess Anne exits through the Duke of York's steps, a slim binder tucked under her arm. Reporters shout questions. She stops briefly and delivers one line. "Duty has no favorites." Within minutes, the quote spreads across front pages. Meanwhile, at 17:20 inside Windsor's Cybersecurity Command Center, alarms trigger again. A second intrusion attempt targets palace systems. This time, the LC-ALT backup files. Logs show 11 failed password attempts before the system locks the network segment. Security teams immediately notify the Met Police Cybercrime Unit under Breach Protocol Clause 17.2.
To the years, because my mother didn't change very much, we kind of knew what the rhythm of the year was. So things like that will change, and how we are part of the support for the monarchy may change slightly.
Internal alerts confirm the situation. Breach vector confirmed. Forensic review recommended within 24 hours. By 1803, the Royal Press Office emails accredited correspondents a notice titled Adherence to Confidentiality. Hidden in paragraph 3 is a key detail. The palace plans to publish a transparency annex on trust governance reforms later this quarter, a move insiders say is meant to prevent calls for a full parliamentary audit. At 1929, inside the House of Commons tea room, MP Judith Clark circulates an early motion questioning royal financial transparency. It gathers 37 signatures, close but still short of debate threshold. Inside palace, planning documents, 3 possible outcomes appear. Capitulation, 54% litigation, 30% donation settlement, 16%. For now, the repayment portal still reads pending. Inside Clarence House, legal advisor Hugh Armitage KC outlines the only viable option, full repayment. Queen Camilla nods once. A wire transfer of £46,000 is scheduled for 9 o'clock on 21st March, drawn from account CS-0497B09. But when the payment hits the Royal Household Suspense Ledger, the system rejects it. Reason code 321, insufficient to cover penalty interest. The updated demand now stands at £47,306. The difference, just £1,306, might seem minor, but under audit protocol, it counts as a new default. The countdown toward 29th March continues. Later that day, The Guardian publishes an opinion piece titled Velvet Guillotine Tactics, referencing Clause 12.4 and the potential foreclosure powers now hanging over the case. Financial markets react again. Shares tied to Tom Parker Bowles' licensing partner drop another 2.8%. Meanwhile, the investigation deepens. At 16:02, the Met Police Cybercrime Unit arrives at Windsor with warrant 0176. Forensic teams mirror the compromised server. Lead investigator Inspector Grace Patel confirms something significant. The intrusion attempt originated from a private IP range linked to Ray Mill House. Under Palace Protocol, Clause 17.2, that discovery automatically triggers a formal criminal inquiry. That evening, Prince William, Princess Anne, and the Lord Chamberlain meet privately with King Charles. Discussions reportedly center on activating contingent foreclosure if repayment fails.
Oh, I think the slim down was said in a day when there were a few more people around. Make that seem like a justifiable comment.
The world changes a bit.
It changes a bit. I mean, it doesn't sound like a good idea from where I'm standing, I have to say.
I'm sure it does
I'm not
not.
quite sure what else, we can do.
The next morning, March 22nd, 7:10, a second wire transfer arrives. This time, £47,306 clears successfully. The portal status flips to settled, but the political fallout is only beginning. 1700, Kensington Palace. Prince William's office circulates an internal memo titled Phase 2, Integrity Roadmap. The plan introduces stricter rules beginning 1 May, including a 3-year exclusion for any non-heir found exploiting royal resources. The document references a precedent file tied directly to the current trust controversy. Meanwhile, tensions inside the family reportedly rise. One eyewitness from Ray Mill House claims Tom Parker Bowles slammed a courtyard door, shouting he was being exiled for pocket change. Laura Lopes reportedly remained silent, scrolling through her phone as the confrontation unfolded. The following morning, March 23rd, 8:42, the Metropolitan Police confirm a formal cyber investigation titled Operation Glade, focused on the Ray Mill IP address linked to the attempted palace system breach. Potential charges fall under the Computer Misuse Act, carrying a maximum sentence of 2 years. By midday, financial markets begin stabilizing, but palace analysts quietly update their internal crisis projections. Capitulation, 42%. Litigation, 37%. Donation settlement, 21%. Then, at 1750, a discreet courier arrives at St. James's Palace with an unexpected offer. Inside the envelope, a pledge of £250,000 for Sandringham conservation, signed only with the initials. Insiders believe it refers to Tom Parker Bowles. If accepted, the donation could shift the crisis towards settlement. If rejected, the legal battle may move forward. Inside Buckingham Palace, the Emergency Rules Committee reaches a decision. A donation cannot erase a breach of trust. At 10:07, members vote unanimously. The £250,000 pledge will be placed in escrow until the Metropolitan Police completes Operation Glade. A new clause is added to Protocol 12.4. If criminal liability is confirmed, the escrow funds automatically transfer to the Crown. What looked like a goodwill gesture now becomes a legal pressure point. By 1332, the Home Office issues briefing note OCIR 312, classifying the cyber intrusion as a Tier 2 national interest investigation. That designation expands investigators' powers, allowing longer data retention and faster cross-border information requests. Digital forensics soon identify a second data route, Montecito, California. At 14:58 local time, U.S. internet provider South Coast Networks receives a formal mutual legal assistance treaty request demanding records tied to the suspected access hash. Across the Atlantic, markets react again. CNBC Europe flashes a headline, Royal Cyber Probe crosses Atlantic. Shares linked to Tom Parker Bowles' business partnerships drop another 3.9%. In Parliament, pressure builds as well. By 1741, MP Judith Clark's motion calling for independent oversight of royal finances reaches 51 signatures, securing time for a Commons debate scheduled 29th April. Later that evening, Ray Mill House releases a brief statement through solicitor Hugh Armitage. Mr. Parker Bowles and Ms. Lopes have complied fully with repayment. They dispute any suggestion of cyber wrongdoing. Legal analysts quickly notice the wording. It disputes the accusation, but stops short of a direct denial. The statement from Ray Milhouse uses careful legal language, disputing the allegation without directly denying involvement. That same evening at 21:17, Prince William holds a closed-door briefing with the Royal Protection Command. A new directive is issued. Beginning at midnight, all non-air access passes require dual biometric verification. One note recorded in the meeting summary reads simply, "Zero tolerance, bloodline or bust." On March 25th at 7:40, Operation Glade takes a major step forward. Police execute a search warrant at a Knightsbridge co-working office linked to a freelance IT consultant who had recently worked with Tom Parker Bowles. Investigators seize a MacBook Air, 2 encrypted USB drives, and a notebook repeatedly referencing something called Project Orchard. Lead investigator Inspector Grace Patel later tells reporters this may be the missing connection between Ray Milhouse and the breached server. Online, the hashtag Project Orchard spreads rapidly. Later that morning, the Royal Household Finance Board releases its long-promised Transparency Annex, outlining the system behind royal financial oversight, from forensic reviews to ultimatums and public notices. Meanwhile, internal crisis models shift again. Capitulation, 38% donation settlement, 33% litigation, 29%. But one major question remains. If digital evidence confirms the breach, will the Crown still accept the donation? And the next answer may not come from London, but from California, when US internet provider South Coast Networks responds to the UK legal request. At Westminster Magistrates Court, freelance consultant Daniel Huxley faces a charge under the Computer Misuse Act for attempting unauthorized access to a protected royal system. He pleads not guilty and is released on £25,000 bail, with the next hearing scheduled for April 4th. Court records reveal something significant: the work order. Connected to the case lists the client as T. Parker Bowles, Project Orchard. Later that morning at Ray Milhouse, Tom Parker Bowles reportedly receives a BBC alert about the arrest. An aide present recalls his reaction. He went pale and said, "They've frozen my chef email account. How am I supposed to run anything?" Meanwhile, at 13:01, the Duchy of Cornwall Escrow Committee meets to review the £250,000 donation pledge following the Knightsbridge raid. The comptroller argues the funds should remain frozen as leverage. A vote is held, 4-1. The money stays in escrow. Then a breakthrough arrives from the United States. At 17:36, internet provider South Coast Networks sends encrypted logs confirming a VPN connection from their Montecito hub to the same internal palace IP targeted during the breach. The same digital signature appears on Huxley's seized laptop. Investigators now have a transatlantic trail. Under Clause 17.2, cooperation with U.S. federal authorities is authorized. International media immediately seize the story. CNN International asks a blunt question. Could a California server topple a British royal insider?
Well, I have a role as Colonel of the Blues and Rolls in the Household Cavalry Regiment as Goldstick. And Goldstick was the original close protection officer. So that is a role that I was asked if I'd like to do for this coronation. So I said yes, not least of all, I solves my dress problem.
Financial fallout spreads as well. On March 27th, Tom Parker Bowles' company Marrow and Time Limited suspends trading after severe volatility. Analysts estimate his royalty income could drop up to 62% next year. Inside the palace, communications teams quietly draft a possible speech for Queen Camilla titled Statement of Reflection. But aides for Prince William reportedly block the idea. No apology while the investigation is active. The witness list for the upcoming 29th April parliamentary debate includes the Lord Chamberlain, the comptroller of the Duchy Audit Section, and journalist Felicity Groves. Notably missing any representative from Camilla's family. Commentators immediately read that omission as another sign of growing distance. Later that day at the London School of Economics, Princess Anne gives a speech on duty and the modern monarchy. In the middle of it, she goes off script and delivers one line that instantly catches fire online. Integrity is not inherited, it is proved. Students rise in a standing ovation. Within minutes, social media is framing it as a quiet but unmistakable message aimed at those outside the bloodline. That same evening, Operation Glade releases a short update. Forensic imaging of the Windsor server is complete, and critical evidence has now been sent to the Crown Prosecution Service. A charging decision is expected within 7 days. By the next morning, another detail emerges. The £250,000 escrowed pledge has officially cleared banking compliance and now sits in account EC26 Orchard, earning interest while the case drags on. At 11:22, Sky News reports on a private parliamentary briefing estimating the political damage ahead. If this case reaches open court, royal approval could drop by 8 points. A settlement would likely cost only 3. The stakes are no longer just legal. They are public and political. Then comes another major blow. At 22:34, BBC Newsnight reveals an alleged email in which Tom Parker Bowles reportedly told consultant Daniel Huxley, "Get me backdoor access." No logs. If authentic, that message could be devastating. Now the picture is sharper than ever. A consultant is charged. A digital trail runs from England to California. The escrow money remains frozen, and the monarchy is bracing for what comes next. 3 key milestones now dominate the timeline. High Court proceedings on April 4th, CPS charging advice within days, and a Parliament debate scheduled for April 29th. Before we continue, like this update, subscribe for the next developments, and tell us below, should this case go to public trial or be settled quietly? Behind the scenes, the Crown Prosecution Service circulates an embargoed notice to legal reporters. The crucial line appears on page 3, unauthorized access, offense, sufficient evidence, public interest test met. In legal terms, that is a green light for potential indictment. Palace insiders confirm Prince William has already approved contingency stage 3 of the integrity roadmap. If charges are filed before Easter, the £250,000 escrow pledge is automatically forfeited and redirected to the Sandringham Conservation Trust. The donor would also face a 36-month ban from royal properties. Meanwhile, tensions rise inside Ray Mill House. One aide reportedly messages colleagues, "Tom smashed a glass and said they're hanging him for a packet of emails." The following day, Metropolitan Police release a press schedule for Operation Glade, listing 3rd April at 9 o'clock as the tentative time for a charging announcement. Online, #April3 begins trending within hours. Inside the palace, the response escalates. The Lord Chamberlain's office quietly distributes a new rule. All consultancy payments above £5,000 made over the past 5 years will be re-audited by July. Staff are calling it a scorched ledger policy. Across the Atlantic, South Coast Networks receives an official thank you letter from the UK Home Office for cooperation in the investigation, effectively locking its evidence into the case record. Then on April 1st, the High Court docket for case HC261A updates with a crucial note: civil foreclosure proceedings will pause if criminal charges move forward. Legal analysts describe it bluntly: this could be the monarchy's all-in moment. A leaked internal risk matrix now estimates the potential fallout. If criminal convictions and parliamentary oversight both occur, royal approval ratings could drop up to 11 points within a year. The palace scrambles to contain the leak, but the document spreads worldwide. Later that day, Princess Anne visits the Royal Marsden Hospital. When reporters ask about the cyber scandal, she gives a brief reply: "The crown will stand." The line quickly dominates news coverage. Meanwhile, the financial consequences become impossible to ignore. By the end of trading, Marrow and Time Limited suspends its shares after a staggering 79% collapse, with analysts describing the brand as effectively insolvent. Inside Buckingham Palace, preparations quietly begin for the next stage. Sources confirm that BBC One has reserved a 5-minute broadcast slot for Prince William, ready to air once the CPS decision is announced. Behind the scenes, senior auditor Graham Wicks finalizes a sweeping 5-year review of royal consultancy payments. The spreadsheet lists 32 flagged transactions totaling £1.41 million. File name: houseclean_master XLSX. The audit is now locked into the palace archive. At 6:59 on April 2nd, investigators deliver their final Operation Glade case file to the Crown Prosecution Service. One police source sums it up in 3 words: bundle delivered, airtight. Now, 2 clocks are ticking. April 3rd, possible criminal charges. April 29th, parliamentary vote on royal financial oversight. One could trigger indictments. The other could permanently change how royal finances are monitored, and the crown sits directly between them. If you're following this story, like the video, subscribe for the next update, and share it with someone interested in royal affairs. And tell me in the comments, what happens next? Indictment, quiet settlement, or something even bigger?